So here it is, January 15th, 2022, my first video of the year. I wanted to give you an update on everything that's growing here in my garage. I will be doing quite a bit of harvesting of lettuce and some kale this morning. Things have kind of gotten out of order. Well, not just kind of, sort of totally out of order here. For the past few weeks, all I've been doing is running out here and cutting lettuce for salads for dinner or lunch and carrying things out here, not putting things in any order. This is where I keep my potatoes. I eat a lot of potatoes on my whole food plant-based diet. This is a green stalk garden tower that I need to put together. I've run into a little issue just in the past few days. If you see, here is a camellia that I bought that I haven't planted, but I'd set it on top of a tub full of dirt that I was going to plant lettuce in. And if you look closely, you can see holes in the dirt. There's dirt all over the floor. I believe we have a mouse here in the garage. And so I have set up some traps. We'll see if we'll catch the little booger. I definitely don't need a mouse assisting with my gardening out here. Anyway, I'm going to try to put some order to all this mess that I've got over here. I've got trays out of the way where I've emptied them, and I need to put them back where they belong. This is some lettuce where I cut off some for supper last night. I went, well, I'm just going to cut off the rest in the morning. So it's the morning and time to get to work. So today I'm going to be harvesting some of the lettuce from the garage here. As I said last night, this pan, I just cut some off for dinner. Got a clean bucket here that's been scrubbed out. Usually I do not wash my lettuce that I grow here in the garage. I've had no problems with bugs on it, and I try to keep it clean as I'm cutting it. I did learn one thing about using this knife. It's a great knife, but it is super sharp. You want to make sure that you have a cutting board to work with. Don't try doing it in midair. That's what I did. Cut my thumb really nicely doing that. But I'm just going to cut this up. You can see how easily this knife cuts. Just cut up in small pieces and toss it in the bucket. There will also be some dead leaves on this lettuce, and that needs to go to be composted. I do compost as much as I can around here. Sometimes if it's not in really bad condition, I can feed it to my chickens. But I try not to feed my chickens rotten stuff that there's no way I would eat. But you can see I just cut off the tops of the lettuce plants here. Cut the leaves into small pieces. These that are over on the side here, this is what I'll give to the chickens. I guarantee this tastes better than any lettuce that you can buy in your local grocery store. We've gotten really spoiled this winter by having this fresh lettuce. We've got a little dead part of the plant here that's going to go out to the chickies. If the chickens won't eat it, I guarantee my goat, John Quincy Adams, will. But I'll be doing this with the lettuce here, and then I'll move on and do it with kale, and we'll see just how much we come up with. So I've harvested the lettuce that I'm going to do for today. I didn't do it all. There's a lot left, and I decided there was no way I was going to cut up that much lettuce. You can see here, this bucket is pretty much full. And it's actually packed down some just from sitting here. That's like 3 days worth of lettuce in that bucket. They're 2.5 gallon buckets, I think. This is the Ragged Jack kale. I'm going to be cutting it off. I don't use the knife for this. I use my little Fiskars cutters. These things are great. They come with a little protective cover. Not that I would ever poke myself with anything. I love Fiskars. You're gonna see them in any gardening videos I do. Around the kitchen, like for instance, Fiskars kitchen shears. The thing about Fiskars is they are guaranteed for life, and they mean it. I broke a pair of these shears back last summer. I got on the website, contacted Fiskars, and they sent me a replacement pair of shears. So anyway, I'm gonna cut off this kale. It's not gonna be chopped up like the lettuce was, because I use the kale in soups and smoothies. I will cut it when I'm ready to use it. It'll store better if it's just cut off. But I'm doing a serious haircut on this kale. Again, just pop it in another clean bucket. It's been great having this kale in the garage when I make stir fries or soups. I just come out and pick what kale I need, and it's nice and fresh. It's not bitter like what I get in the store. If I find a bad leaf, we put it down here in the bucket for the chickens. But I'm going to be cutting these off real short. You do need to make sure that you leave the center of the plant. I'll show you that in just a minute here. You can see here on this one, I've left just a small piece of the plant. The new leaves coming out, and the kale will come back. It will grow additional leaves. These kale and lettuce have been cut back numerous times, and they just keep coming back. The lettuce, after today's cutting, it may be a bust. I may end up having to just trash, or in my case, I compost the lettuce plants that are left in these tubs. But heck, they've been growing since October. So that's been 3 months of eating lettuce off of them. So I really can't complain if they don't come back. They have been coming back every time after I cut them off. Now I'll get all of this kale cut off short. As I said, you have to be careful that you don't cut the middle of the plant. I'm not happy with myself if I do slip and do that. Looks like I'm gonna have a bucket full of kale just from this one pan here. I do have another pan on the other shelf that I will be able to go ahead and cut from. I don't like to cut too much at once. Okay, I've cut back. Close up my shears here. I've cut back to the point where there's almost nothing left to these plants. It looks like, well, why would you say that? They will come back from these centers here. You can see there's a little tiny leaf here. They'll come back and I'll have more. And I lied to y'all, I had this down as, no, it is the Russian kale, the red Russian or Ragged Jack kale. I've got so many different kinds of kale growing out here right now. Got more kinds of kale than I have since, which isn't saying much. So what I'll do is clean up these dead leaves that are in here and put this back up on the shelf. It does need to be watered. I'm still doing the thing of watering, and then about every 2 weeks, I go ahead and use a liquid fertilizer. It's an organic fertilizer, so I know everything in here that I'm growing is organic. But anyway, that's my lettuce harvest and my kale from one pan harvest for today. Okay, this is my lettuce for today and my kale that I cut today. I did want to show you what I meant by cutting back the lettuce. These are the trays that I cut back. They're 2 to 3 inches long, And this is the cut and come again method that I've told you about before. This tray here, it was cut a couple weeks ago, and you can see it's already got quite a bit of lettuce growing back. So far I've been very fortunate. These have been cut like 2 or 3 times. I really don't hold tons of hope for the ones that I cut off so drastically today. This is one of the ones that I cut off today. And this is the kale that I cut off. But it may come back, it may not. If it doesn't, I've lost nothing. I will know in a few days if it's going to come back or not. I'm not really worried about it because in addition to everything that I cut, I've still got all these that I didn't cut today. So I've got lots of kale and lots of lettuce left here growing. I've still got some microgreens. And those are some chia seeds. Those are cress seeds. These are the broccoli microgreens still. These are red romaine lettuce that I transplanted to the bin. As I said, I've had the 2 tubs of dirt. The mice got into the one, so that kind of changed my plans on taking what's left of this red romaine. I'll have to redo that bin of dirt before I transplant it. But this is another tray or bin that's grown back. Lots of ragged jack kale. More lettuce. This is that bin of the green stalk leaves, the ones I said were old seed. And they have just gone wild. I have cut off of this and cut off of this, and it just continues to grow and grow. We've got the 2 kinds of kale here. And I have to look at the tags because they look so much alike. This one is the dwarf blue. This one here is the dwarf scotch. They're both curly kales. Not only do I grow them in the garage in the winter, but I also grow them out in the gardens. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little update. I know I'm going to enjoy the salads and hope you will try this at home. Do it for yourself and be able to go out to your garage or down to your basement or wherever you have room and grow your own food for the winter. I want to thank y'all for taking time to watch my video. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. If you'll hit that bell, you'll be notified of when the next videos come up. Until then, if you're interested in the knife or the clippers that I used, the little snips in this video, I will put links to them down below in the comments. Any questions that you have, feel free to comment and I'll get back to y'all. Thanks for watching.